You can't squeeze me. You think you're a real investor? It's Fartcoin.
Through value creation,
Moderna Oncology?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really trust mRNA for oncology. Don't care too much about RFK. What jumped after my tweet? Meme stocks have all been dropping like a rock. Might want to read Ben Graham's book. I think I have a book list here somewhere. Hold on. It should be my GitHub. Got about 60 books in here. I mean, I'm constructive, but I'd like to see the next quarter. But yeah, I mean, it's still probably a good risk reward. It went up a lot, and I didn't want people to be. Yeah, I think so. Investors are going to get very bored of Rigettin and IonQ. Yeah, look at Lay's. Lay's is getting smoked. Some weakness in D-Wave and QSI as well. Yeah, I'm down a bit, but it's not that big deal. I know these profits are coming. I mean, I'm pretty much full port. I'd say I'm just hedged. But yeah, I mean, there's no risk without reward. You know, I'm pretty sure these are the most overvalued stocks I've ever seen, and I don't think the macro environment is very good for speculative longs anyway. So it's like should be a perfect storm. Yeah, I'm very, very convinced. Now, the stocks are acting very strong still, but to some extent that's to be expected. I mean, it'd be a little bit strange if it was so easy come, easy go. Market has to sort of trap some bag holders first. The IonQs were 10 billion, so I haven't done that much work this week. A tiny bit. Lace has a large cash position. They only file twice a year, so. I was looking at a discrete math textbook last night, actually. Short, common, long calls. That's my typical setup. Vol of all. Wow, it's just the second derivative. Yeah, I think RFK is wrong. Pretty sure he's a vaccine hater. Pretty sure the ILT3 MABs have been considered to be pretty bad. Fed is lowering rates thanks to quantum. Fed used quantum. Yeah, everything's going down right now. A little beta. My meme coin trades are starting to work too. This latest short position I put on. Same Evercore guy, yeah. There are times in the market's like super irrational, and this is one of those times. Bluefin Biomedicine. What are these guys? Yeah, I haven't looked at Summit in a while. I mean, nothing's changed, obviously, but I was a little less than excited compared to the market, at least. Yeah, I wouldn't use PE ratio to determine if a stock's overvalued or undervalued. You know, if you can get a steady state earnings number and then have some risk adjustments and do that, you might be able to get a little bit more insight. But ultimately, the market, you have to sort of have some kind of viewpoint that's different from the market. For example, if you imputed the earnings, so instead of trying to look at the PE, just look at the P which is given, look at the PE which should be given for a steady state and impute the E, and then try to figure out if the E is something that's likely or unlikely to occur. So if you feel the E is likely to be a lot higher, then you have a reason perhaps to be bullish. Or perhaps if the risk is going to drop dramatically, which, you know, most people ignore the risk part of the equation. But if the company becomes, the risk to cash flow substantially drops, that would also be good. Nvidia's done really well, in addition to their marvelous earnings growth, is they've kind of shown a resistance to being a cyclical, which has been the traditional semiconductor status quo. Now, that's easy to say in a bull market. Maybe they will become cyclical yet again. So there's not, you know, necessarily a reason to believe that they're not cyclical. They always say that in the height of a bull market, that, you know, your favorite cyclical growth stock is no longer cyclical at all, but it's just going to keep going. And that's never really true. Certainly price to earnings gives you some sense of, you know, expectations, but it can't give you, by definition, it can't give you alpha, because it is literally just a quotient. And obviously, you know, it's a great company, and the company's done really well. The stock market's a scary and tricky place, and cash is always king. Number one mistake every trader makes, until you've gotten to a point where you've learned it, is position size is too big, and a lot of focus on single positions. You know, which is basically gambling. Now, if you intend to do that, that's fine. There's really no problem. If you say ahead of time, listen, I'm willing to take this unreasonable risk. I don't care. I really believe in this. and that's fine. Now, there are some positions that's delusional, and there's some positions where it's not. The positions where it's delusional is where a small change to the stock price can hurt you a lot. For example, if a 5% change to any stock you've got can hurt you a lot, your position's too big. Because you cannot predict a 5% change in any stock price. If a 50% change can hurt you, well, then maybe that makes sense. You know, you're betting a lot. So if you're wrong by 50%, it's kind of good that it'll hurt you because it'll also help you. But if you're wrong, you know, it should sting you a little bit. Yeah, and if it triples, it should sting you a lot a bit. But you never want something to be able to take you out of business, no matter what price it goes to. I do want to know they ordered a new monitor, and I think they maybe misplaced it downstairs. Package was left near the front door or porch. Your delivery is running late. Oh, so I guess it hasn't happened yet. Cancel and request a refund. See, I don't want to request a refund. I want to get a refund. I mean, the best way to learn about any business, in my opinion, is to read 10Ks and 10Qs and follow the publicly traded companies in that industry. Talking single qubit, double qubit, talking swap gates, talking about Toffoli gates, Hadamard gates, control not. Quantum computing determines 11, in fact, not a prime. How'd they do that? 11's always been a prime. It's like WWE announcer. Oh my, factored. If I'm a WWE wrestler someday, I'm definitely gonna factor people. Hit them with the factor. Liver toxicity. I said this was supposed to be a depression drug. 200-second computation. How did it stay in superposition for so long? These things decohere. Oh, the decision's it too. So 1492 or 1942 is dead. They ever revealed the mechanism? Little is known. Oh, someone says 𝗓𝗏, which would be pretty disappointing. Was there a protocol in here? Ooh. So I guess, are they still developing the 𝗕𝗢𝗘𝗢 combination? Will that give them some more IP? Usually, I'm not sure it would. Commercially relevant? You think so? Yeah? What are you going to do about the gate fidelity? Is it not a static limitation? Gate fidelity is a limitation. I can't run a big program if the gate fidelity isn't high. Actively improving, says you. 5 years, they got it up 50 basis points. You need 9 nines to even discuss it. Well, if the Fluxonium company was public, maybe that would be trading high, but unfortunately, we're stuck with Rigettin and IonQ, which are 99.5 at best. And that's a 1 qubit gate. Wait till you see the 2 qubit gates and the swap gates and garbage. I mean, just for my tiny problems, I can't even get them to run, let alone run fast. I can't run a generic Shor's algorithm. These machines don't even work. Rigetti's still not up on AWS. I gave up on that one. Badgering IonQ enough, eventually got that one up. Let me check it out again, make sure. Rigetti's still offline. I mean, the biggest machine IonQ has is 36 qubits, which is, I mean, that's just pathetic. The amount of scaling required is just abysmal. Yeah, it's a long way to go. There's 10 or 15 orders of magnitude left. Jensen was nice when he said 6 orders of magnitude, but I think it's more like 10 or 15 orders of magnitude. And you're going to have a lot of qubits for one logical qubit. I mean, tons of error correction redundancy. And I do think at some point you'll be able to do something like Shor's. But the question is, what good is Shor's for? There's no commercial need to factor numbers. You know, so if there was an algorithm that was really exciting, that'd be great. But the most exciting algorithm is number factoring. We know what kind of error rates quantum has to achieve, because you can just use the exponent. It has to be high, unless you want to do a 500 gate program or something like that. It's just simple math. Yeah, the quantum Keras paper was a joke. You can't really combine 500 gate problems. It doesn't work that way. That's like saying if you had a 100 million instruction x86 problem, just do the instructions one at a time. Well, Fartcoin's definitely rallying, but I will get paid. I'll take your money, don't worry. Is this the Federal Reserve? Does it come out here? There's minutes. Fartcoin's a 0. Shut up. Ooh. You can't squeeze me. You think you're a real investor? It's Fartcoin? Get out of here. I wouldn't even let you get me coffee. I'm gonna call Griffin on this one. Griffin's gonna say, I can't manipulate that. That's crypto. That's not. I know, just the idea of
Someone calling themselves a Fartcoin investor.
I mean, honestly, no matter how bad your portfolio is, it can't be worse than owning Fartcoin. So if you own, you're a bag holder in quantum computing, future bag holder at least. If you're in Celis, even if you're in one of the wannabe quantum stocks like QUBT, even if you're an Anavex, it can't be worse than Fartcoin.
Indicators suggest economic activity is continuing to expand at a solid pace. Unemployment has stabilized at a low level. Labor market remains solid. Inflation remains elevated. Committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at 2%. Risks to achieving this employment are roughly in balance. Economic outlook is uncertain, and the committee is attentive. Decided to maintain the target range. Carefully assess data. Continue to reduce its holdings. Strongly committed to employment. Nothing in here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was in there, if anything. No, most people think Tonix is trash. Very, very, very few people think Tonix is anything but trash.
Jerome, it's President Trump. I told you to cut rate. I can fire you anytime.
Mr. Trump.
You see that red dot? You see that? My Secret Service guy's shining a red dot at you right now. It's not me with the cat laser pointer. That's a sniper scope.
Mr. Trump, I am not going to cut rates.
Yeah, Merck's pipeline is like god-awful. You basically have three assets, Keytruda, Gardasil, and Sotatercept.
No, there's an Elizabeth Warren meltdown. What did she melt down about?
Mr. Kennedy, I want to start with something that I think you and I agree on, and that is that Big Pharma has too much power in Washington. You said that President Trump asked you to suing the drug companies and taking your rate out of them.
Can't have it any which
while
way.
you're secretary and
Can't
for
do this,
4
can't do
years.
that.
It's just
Can't work ever again.
Any fees.
from
Let him talk.
suing drug companies. Will you agree not to do that?
Yeah, 𝗥𝗑𝗑𝗢 is not selling that well. This is the company that Novartis bought, called Medicines Company, to get 𝗥𝗑𝗑𝗢, which drug profile is pretty good, but I guess, it's still picking up steam. Yeah, you're welcome to come to the Godell office, RM. As a loyal member of our company, you're more than welcome to come. Loyal member of our software. Loyal subscriber to our software. There we go. Yeah, you can meet me, Vlad, and the boys. I didn't look at ASML yet. I'm just going through all the big pharmas, basically. I'm not at the office because I'm sick. I was going to stream, but I was going to pass out. It was so bad. If we need capital, we have a lot of sources. Going public's always an option. I think you need to have a certain amount of revenue to really be a public company. There's no legal limit, but I don't see any good reason to go public unless you have at least 10 million in annual revenue, probably more than that. I would say bare minimum. If you're growing very fast, 10 isn't that crazy. But yeah, I would say, for software, yeah, I think you could start with 10. If you're a really small company, I don't know why you want to be public. It's a lot of paperwork. Still down 43% over the last week, but up 32% in one day. I was in bed almost all day yesterday. Starting to feel a little better. Like Microsoft is hurting a bit. So let's see, revenue of 69.6. 69.6 was ahead of guidance. No guidance on the call. I guess people probably expected a bigger beat because the valuation is so high that without that bigger beat, then you can't get too excited about 12% revenue growth. Tesla, let's take a look. Let's see, I guess I can see if I can download it this way. Yeah, it's out. Tesla's out. If you go to that URL, whose call is first? Does anybody have the call times? Maybe guidance has to come on the call. There's just prepared remarks. They're all at 5:30? How about Meta? IBM is out. There's the IBM press release, finally. IBM revenue growth is 1%. That's what we're getting excited about. Lam Research had a good quarter. They're closer to Nvidia than most. Pretty sure Nvidia is a customer, or TSM is a customer. Kind of mixed earnings season so far, I would say. Tilts to the negative side. Azure, slight weakness. Tesla, not so great. On the other side, IBM. Oh, also ServiceNow. But on the other side, IBM and Lam, Probably get Facebook at 430. Yeah, we can look at Intel. Outlook 39.5 to 41.8. That's not good, right? CapEx outlook 60 to 65. What was last year? Wow. Jesus Christ, that's a huge CapEx. That's pretty bullish for Nvidia. Pretty huge beat for Meta. 48.39. Oh, that's not that huge a beat, actually. Guidance was 48. Consensus was 47 for some reason, but that low. So it's a small beat of the high end. But again, I think that was to be expected. It's the next quarter's guidance that's kind of a little bit alarming. Pretty big slowdown there. Yeah, Q1's much worse than expected. The CapEx number is really big, which you have to wonder if that's a great idea given the DeepSeek results. He's talking about 60 to 65 billion CapEx. Most of that's got to be Nvidia boxes, right? So 60 to 65 billion. Yeah, cargo therapeutics, pretty wild. Gotta admit, when Zuck goes big. Traditional media doesn't want me on financial media, and I don't want to be on there either. Yeah, Meta had a good quarter. The spending guidance is pretty outlandish. Okay, guys, I want to spend 10 times what Elon's spending. 10 times. Whatever Elon spends, 10 times that.
Ended 2024 on a strong note with now more than 3.3 billion people using at least one of our apps each day. This is going to be a really big year. I know it always feels like every year is a big year, but more than usual, it feels like the trajectory for most of our long-term initiatives is going to be a lot clearer by the end of this year. So
Q4 total expenses were $25 billion, up 5% compared to last year. R&D increased 16%, primarily driven by higher employee compensation and infrastructure costs. Tax rate for the quarter was 12%.
Look at this insane expense reduction. Insane expense reduction.
$8 billion or $8.
Yeah, I mean, the stock prices say it all. Microsoft had been so hot, it's kind of due for a breather. I'm surprised the market likes Zuck's CapEx spend. I don't know if they're just giving him room or what. That's a pretty huge GPU spend. And he's saying that includes speed improvements and that includes longer useful life. So that's pretty wild. I didn't listen to Tesla, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. I'm back in some crypto shorts. I got temporarily dislocated due to an unforeseen circumstance. Optimus, 10 trillion, wow. Well, it must have been a mistake with the software, but let's just say I'm back. I'm short Trump with Fartcoin, Popcat, and Vine. I'm not long. Long? Yeah, Quantum is my biggest short. Why don't I trade after hours? Who says I don't trade after hours? I don't really like to trade in general. I just put my position on and wait. Yeah, you can make good money at Big Four accounting. It might take a while, but sure. No Goodell keyboard yet, although we've talked about it. The whole point of the affiliate program is you go to other places to market. I think you go to the account section. I don't know. I think you should be able to enroll as a student, but I could be wrong. Well, when you have more cash than market cap, typically what happens is management's going to burn the cash. Been in many of those types of situations. Sometimes they can work, sometimes they don't. You got to usually boot management out of the way to get your money back, which isn't fun. A lot of work has to be done to get that. Lays is down, but we have many more quantum stocks to go. They're all going to go down 90%. Question is, can you hang on until then? Think about cryptos. It trades so wide. So like Vine was 40 cents 2 days ago. It hit 22 cents, and now it's 29.9 cents. Vine is some random crypto started, I guess, by the old Vine guy. I don't know if they're hoping that like they can bring back Vine, but that has nothing to do with the crypto. Like it wouldn't help the crypto. I mean, it would help it attention-wise. It's literally not going to do anything else. Yeah, X is never going to help out anybody. The guy
has a huge amount of debt, right, that the company owes or owes lenders. So it's just kind of bizarre. You know, there's certainly, if they were going to do something crypto related, sure is not doing it with some rando. So it's just a LARP, pretend LARP dream, fever dream. Yeah, I know a lot of people that work at X don't even dream of it.
I think they'll do some at some point.
Yeah, they've been thinking about bringing back Vine for a long time. My friend was the main guy at Vine who integrated it into Twitter. There's just no way. Why would they dilute their brand? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I would do something with Adam Friedland.
Yeah, I enjoy being a contrarian, but you try not to enjoy it too much, because then you just become a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian, which isn't good. No, I haven't traded Intel. I would be bullish if I were to... I would lean bullish, I guess, but I'm not there. Nvidia is just such a better company, but, you know, that's priced in. Or I think it's priced in. We don't know how much it's priced in. You know, one of the things about Elon said, Optimus is going to be a $10 trillion business. Well, who do you think is going to power that? It's going to be powered by Nvidia. I mean, robotics is what's going to save Nvidia. I don't know if it's this cycle or next cycle or whatever, but robotics, I mean, how lucky can this company get? If robotics becomes the next big thing, which it very well could, and I think might, you could see, I mean, every robot's going to have an Nvidia chip in it, which is pretty bullish. Elon's talking about there'll be more robots than people. I'm looking at Novartis right now. Well, self-driving cars is another big win for Nvidia at some point. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think the Waymo uses some kind of Nvidia chip. So if that scales, that'll be pretty exciting. I don't think anyone's running their own local LLMs, Mustafa. Maybe guys like you and me, but at best a couple hobbyists. But it's not about bullish on Nvidia long term. It's more about just price sensitive, you know? You really think people are going to do Python environments and install packages to run their own local LLM or use a Meta product for free? Pretty simple choice there. It's like saying everyone's going to use Linux. I don't even think Fortune 500 is going to do it. And they're more important, I would agree. Vine is useless. No one's going to remember Vine in a week. Every 3 to 6 months, people go on Twitter and say, "Oh, bring back Vine, derp." Never happens. Never will happen. I got an Italian sub from Jersey Mike's. Kind of real basic meal. Yeah, I mean, to the extent X wants to compete with TikTok, it doesn't make sense to dilute your brand, and then X may acquire TikTok. I have to look at the new farming stuff. At first blush, I didn't like the mitochondrial stuff that much. Yeah, I agree. X is a little unproductive, it looks like. But it also looks like they're going to do something in payments. Going to become a bank. Elon's getting into payments again. Pretty wild. What does this guy not do? He does it all.
I had to pay more attention to Regeneron. I mean, obviously, they're going to have a challenge with biosimilars. That's pretty significant. And, you know, Dupixent's still worth a lot, but growing through Eylea expiry is going to be tricky. Yeah, I looked at the Alarity press release. It looks kind of scammy. That company was pretty unreliable. It's a good idea, 𝗏𝗏. I mean, right now I think you know what it is. Everybody in crypto is trading, you know, $1 million orders. Nobody in crypto would ever LARP. Yeah, you could short a breakdown. That happens. A lot of traders like to do that. I like to do that. If a stock's breaking down, you can press it. I am still short Rigettin. There are generally not options, correct? I mean, shorting strength versus shorting weakness, there's no alpha in either one. I earned my first million at the same time I earned my first 10 million. So it all came at one shot. Make alpha in the market. If anything, read about the Steve Cohen guy who took estrogen. Beta neutral hedge funds sound good in principle, but you ever actually look at their returns. Some of the multi-strats are pretty good because they leverage up, you know, the beta neutral returns. Again, there's no alpha specifically in selling options, maybe a very slight edge in selling premium, but it depends, you know, sometimes premium's cheap. Sometimes it's expensive. It's easier for everyone to have their own brand, if that makes sense. On the spectrum, no. I mean, I being a dedicated short selling analyst is difficult. Yeah, you gotta get some estrogen to do rust. memory safe programming. Some of you guys have to learn how to do your own research. One of the things that I've been working on, Curtis, that I need to work harder on is looking at circuit depth. Circuit depth and number of gates. I mean, the thing about guys like Sam Lessin is presumably they have the money to not rug. Fartcoin has not surged. Fartcoin has dropped. Been dropping like a rock. Like all of crypto right now. I thought we were friends.